Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us and getting us started this morning. I want to play a little bit of what President Biden said during his exclusive interview with ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos last night. Take a very quick listen.
Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes.
But what has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night, a bad run. But, George, I'm optimistic about this country.
Congresswoman, you've been outspoken about your support for the president, even posting on Twitter that you are riding with Biden. So what do you say to the voters who may still have some concerns about Biden's ability to beat Donald Trump?
Yeah, so first of all, it's great to see you. Sorry that I sound a little hoarse. I am. I'm in New Orleans at Essence, where the vice president is also currently making her rounds as well. Let me tell you, the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans could not be more stark in so many ways. One of those ways that I think about is the fact that even those Democrats that are calling for the president to step aside, they're not calling for the president to step aside because they think that Joe Biden's a terrible person, because they think that he's a failure. They're calling for him to step aside because they are scared. One thing that I think we all are united in, no matter where you stand, is our fear. Our fear that somehow Donald Trump can get back into the White House, our fear that the Supreme Court will absolutely end up becoming even worse, because we know that Donald Trump plans to put 2 more Supreme Court justices on that court and give them lifetime appointments. Our fear because we know the reality of what they are seeking in Project 2025. And so the only thing that I'm asking everyone to do is to unite around the ticket. The ticket at this point in time is Biden and Harris. And so long as the president says that he can do this job, then that is our ticket. We have a democratic process. We went through the primary, and to subvert the will of the people based on polls is not what we do in a democracy. When we think about it, if the polling was right, we never would have had a Donald Trump. If the polling was right, we wouldn't have Democrats overperforming by 20 points in a number of elections. Let's stay the course. Let's recognize who the real enemy is. Let's not give fodder to the Republicans come November by tearing each other apart.
You serve on that oversight and accountability committees. You've seen the waste of time, money, and resources that come from the House GOP baselessly pursuing Donald Trump's agenda, his conspiracy theories. Nothing is getting done by that chaos caucus. How important is it to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office again if America wants to see actual work get done for Americans?
Yeah, if you just want to make sure that there's an agenda that is only going to benefit Donald Trump, whether it's keeping him out of prison, which obviously that agenda is already well underway. This is why we have a delayed sentencing in New York. It's why we can't get to any of the trials that are pending against him. I mean, the fact that this Supreme Court essentially has said, forget all precedents, we are going to bow down and do whatever King Donald wants us to do, should scare the hell out of everybody. I don't care if you identify as a Republican, independent, or Democrat. You should be scared that our democracy is literally falling apart before our eyes. But when you talk about the work and oversight, every time that we've tried to approach things such as emoluments, which we know that Donald Trump has taken so much foreign money, him as well as his daughter Ivanka, whether it was trademarks or whether it was dollars, they were getting paid at the expense of the American people. I'm just asking that the people put themselves first. And right now, if you decide that you want to go with Donald Trump, you are not putting yourself first. I know that we want to go back to pre-pandemic life. Lord knows I wish we could go back to then. And we know that Donald Trump was the president during the beginning of the pandemic as well as prior to the pandemic. But the reality is that we won't go back to pre-pandemic levels for anything by electing the guy that just so happened to be in office before the pandemic. So I know we're scared, but we need to harness that fear and turn it into a force of nature and save our country. We need to demand that we have no more chaos that we are seeing out of the Republican House. And essentially what we will do if Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States, it will be chaos times 3, because if he ends up becoming president, the chances of him actually getting the Senate are higher as well, and the chances of him maintaining the House are high. It will be so bad for us because if you listen to the debate, regardless of the performances, every time Donald Trump was asked about the economy, he dodged the question. And we know that the economy is number one. He has no plan. He cares nothing about us. He only cares about himself.
You know, actress Taraji P. Henson hosted the BET Awards this past week, and she spoke out about the presidential election and Project 2025. Take a quick listen.
It's not just about the presidential election, you guys. It's time for us to play chess, not checkers. It's about making decisions that will affect us. Did you know that it is now a crime to be homeless? Pay attention. It's not a secret. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens. The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
And, you know, Congresswoman, people did look it up after that speech. The searches for that term, quote, Project 2025, saw a spike. Henson also mentioned a recent SCOTUS decision that criminalizes people sleeping outside in public places. In other words, it criminalizes being homeless. I mean, how important is it for the American people to know more about Project 2025?
Listen, you know, interestingly enough, the orange one tweeted about this, or truthed, or whatever he does. He recently addressed this, and he is trying to distance himself. But if you Google it, I promise you, you will see that I have been in committee and I have asked some of the people that are authors of Project 2025 about this. I mean, I remember one of my hearings where the witness was smug as smug can be as I was asking him questions, but he answered truthfully. This is their plan. And honestly, if you've been paying attention, you know that the plan is absolutely already in play.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope you feel better. Sending you some good energy.
Thank you.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn. MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.